Welcome to the Love Hub channel, where we discuss matters of the heart and give relationship advice to women. In today's episode, we are going to discuss what to talk about with a man. Ladies, we know that first dates can get really awkward. You're both so shy and nervous, you don't really know what to say. It feels like it's just so much better to just text with each other. You're able to open up more. But it's really important for you to be able to establish a connection with your date in person. It's the only way that your relationship will progress to something more meaningful. The older generation will say, don't talk about money, religion, or politics on the first date. It can get really awkward. But it's a different time. People are more open about those things. The younger generations are more open to discussing controversial topics. We're not shying away from those things. But is it a good idea to talk about them on the first date? Don't worry, ladies, we're here to help you out. Now remember, the Love Hub is a judgment-free zone. We don't judge women here. We are your safe space. Now let's get to the topic. Number 1, start with the tried and true classic. Tell me more about yourself. Now, I know that in this age, people have probably texted or communicated via social media before meeting in person. So you may already know some things about your date, and that's a great thing. It's a great starting point. But it's still important for you to know more about the person that you're dating, and sitting in front of them, just being face to face with each other is a great opportunity for you to really get to know them. Not only will you be reading words from a text message or from a messaging app, you actually get to see their facial expressions as they tell you more about themselves. Number 2, try to get him to elaborate more on his text messages. For example, the two of you have been texting each other for a few weeks now. You haven't seen each other yet, but you're already getting to know each other better. I'm sure that in his text conversations with you, he has already mentioned some of his hobbies and interests. Now that he's sitting right in front of you, this is the best time for you to get him to elaborate more on what drives his passions. For example, in one of your text message conversations, he talked about his love for skydiving. Now is the time for you to ask him what drove him to be interested in skydiving in the first place. What is it about this sport that separates it from the rest? What drove him to have the courage to jump out of the plane? There are so many questions that you can ask him so that he can elaborate more on his previous answers. Now, this isn't just limited to hobbies and interests. It's possible that in one of your previous conversations, you had talked about something else, maybe a significant point in his life. You can ask him to elaborate on that as well. It doesn't have to be just about the little things. Number 3, ask him how he likes the place. Say the two of you are meeting in a restaurant. I'm sure you've already talked about where you're going to meet, what you're going to do. So if you decide to go to a nice little restaurant, ask him how he feels about the place. And if, for example, you settled on a Greek restaurant, ask him if he loves the food and where did he first try it. If he says, well, I've never really tried Greek dishes before, then move a little closer and show him the menu. Talk about which dishes seem really good and interesting. There are so many subtle ways that you can flirt and show that you like him without going overboard. Number 4, ask him where he sees himself in the future. His answer can give you a lot of insight about what he thinks of himself, of his life, where he's going to be, and if there is going to be room for you in his future. If he's not able to give you a good answer or any answer about where he sees himself in the future, then that may be a red flag because it means that he's not really preparing for it. He's just going with the flow. And there's really nothing wrong with that. But in today's economy where everything is just so uncertain, it's important for everybody to have a plan for the future. On the other hand, if he gives you a specific answer, like, well, in 2 years, I plan to travel to Asia and live there for a while, discover the culture, learn new languages, and just really discover myself, that can be a red flag. Because it sounds like that in 2 years, you're not going to be part of his future. That he's going to go on this journey of self discovery on his own. So, ladies, when he gives you an answer about this, take note because you can learn a lot about his intentions just based on his answer. Number 5, tell me more about your family. This is another question that can tell you a lot about this man that you're dating based on the answer that he gives you. Now, if you're the type of girl that is very family oriented and you would love to settle down and have a family of your own someday, then based on his answers to this question, you can get an idea of whether he is going to be a family man. It could be a red flag if he tells you that he has no contact with his family. He has broken off all connections with them. Now, it's also possible that maybe his family is just extremely toxic. His parents could be abusive. And of course, it's important for him to take himself out of that environment and stop all communication with them. But if his answer is basically, yeah, I don't really talk to my parents much. I'm just so busy with my career. I've got so many things going on. I don't really have the time to communicate with them. Then that could be a worrying sign because it shows that he is valuing his job and his career over his family. And listen, we understand ambition. We love seeing people succeed. But are you really going for a man that is willing to cut ties with his own family just so he can get ahead in life? Is it not possible to have a great career while also maintaining relationships with the people that raised you? But this is really all up to you. If you are also the type of person that would value your own career goals over spending time with your family, then the two of you may get along. And again, we're not here to judge you. If you are that type of person, more power. Do what makes you happy and fulfilled. And go be with the person that you feel really connected to. Now, ladies, we know that first dates can get really awkward, but it's important for you to truly be inquisitive and interested in the man that you're dating. So ask questions. Try to really get to know him more. Remember, the only way for you to know if this man is going to be good for you is if you try to get to know who he is as a person beyond what he says on the text messages. Because the man on text could be different from the man who was sitting right in front of you.